right, here we go. Let's kick it off.
Okay. Well, what do you got for us? What are you going to kick it off with?
You know, football starting tonight. It's that time of year. Here we go. Got a little college football action last week, which was fun to watch. Some exciting things. We had a chance in that bye week to see some teams out there playing and some guys competing. So excited for our turn this weekend coming up.
Okay. As a coordinator, how big is continuity from year to year when you have the same quarterback, a lot of the same offensive linemen, a lot of the same weapons? Does it make your job easier when you kind of know who a lot of these guys are?
I think it, like anything else, started in OTAs with that good continuity, and then adding in the draft picks and some of the different free agents that came in and joined us. And so really starting there with Gino leading the way as the incumbent starter right there, just allowed us to start with the system that we'd already had in place. Get to start a little bit ahead of where we were the previous season when obviously Drew and Gino were out there competing against each other, and just being able to accumulate so many reps together as a unit now over a couple of year period, I think is just led us to be better communicators, better chances to get us in and out of different things on the field, and then the players really taking full ownership of what we're doing on offense.
Smith talked to us about all the work you guys have done all offseason, preseason, on third downs, red zones. What exactly are you seeking there? What are you drilling there to get better?
I think the thing we're seeking really is the consistency. I think we did a good job last year of creating explosive plays, scoring a lot of touchdowns outside the 10-yard line, outside of the traditional red zone plays, but then we did have some drives that stalled in the red zone. So looking for consistency there, and then really for that improvement in the red zone and on third down is really eliminating those negative plays that got us off track, got us off schedule. Same thing could be said for third down, where we started the year doing a really nice job of converting and being on pace on those third downs, and then we hit a little bit of a lull. And like anything else, when you take a whole offseason to go back and study, there's so many little nuances that go into, where did the play break down? What can I do better? Starting with the play call, putting our guys in the best position for success. So getting a chance for the full offseason to really hone in on those areas, and without getting into specifics, just making those focal points of the meeting time, the practice time, and getting guys on the same page, and feeling like we're going into this season here with a good plan of attack and ready to go execute in those critical situations in the game.
How much more of it is an emphasis now than any other season you've coached or been an offense?
Yeah, I think, one part of it, you talk about, having a little bit of continuity coming back into it. Some of those times in the early part of training camp or the early part of OTAs where traditionally you might still be installing some of your first and second down plan or formations, stuff that guys have a good grasp on. We can focus a little bit more energy onto third down, onto the red zone a little bit quicker maybe than normally we would. But it's like anything else. I feel like the stuff that you need to emphasize in the off season, the points that you need to make, you need to shift gears a little bit and allocate a little bit more time to things to improve on to keep yourself a balanced offense, and that's what we're able to do.
Everybody's gonna look at Gino in those situations, but how critical is the run game for those third down numbers and the red zone numbers? You guys only had one rushing touchdown instead of the 5-yard line last year.
Yeah, it was kind of a strange thing, because in the run game we had a couple where Ken did a nice job on some runs right at the 10, 11, 12-yard line, which typically you're not expecting that explosive play, or and even in the Giants game where he was able to create an explosive, totally off schedule for a red zone touchdown. But being more consistent and not taking those negative plays once you get down in the low red zone, I think will be critical and key for us. And it all starts with the communication, making sure our targets are right, making sure we're giving the back the best chance, and then for me, just staying balanced in those scenarios and taking the opportunities to take shots or go to the pass game when the opportunities present themselves, and not being in some instances too aggressive when we know we got some great backs that can make things happen on their own.
Donald never seems to slow down. How do you attempt to neutralize him?
Yeah, he's a great player, and Aaron's gonna, have a chance to make his plays. He's been at the top of the game at his position for a long time now. Don't see anything changing. I know the way he works, the way his mindset is, whether he missed a few games at the end last year or not, he's coming in ready to go. And for us, I think, the training, the technique, the stuff with Damian Lewis, with Evan, okay, with Phil Haynes, the guys inside that'll be matched up with him a lot, is trust in their technique, trusting that they're also great players in this league. They've accumulated a lot of snaps as well. So obviously a player of Aaron's stature, you have to have a plan for him, but then also making sure that the plan for him doesn't take away from the rest of the game and the other guys that they have, like Michael Hoyt that gave us problems last year, or the different rush packages that they present. And I know one thing with starting with Donald, but then with Coach Henderson there, his rush plan that him and Shula put together is really top notch every week, and they use guys in a lot of different ways. And going into an opening game where you don't really know who the bodies are exactly going to be in those different scenarios with personnel packages, like I said, going back to technique, communication, and trusting each other.
How much more challenging is it for a week one when you know all the turnover they've had and Jalen Ramsey not being there, Bobby now being back here, and all the different changes they've had? Or is it really not that big of a difference just because week one's always like?
Yeah, I think the one benefit of that part for us is week one is always a little bit of an unknown. Whether last year going against a team that was a little bit of unknown exactly how they were going to implement a system with Jiro Evero, who had been at the Rams, and knowing, hey, you have an idea of what it might look like, but you're not 100% sure. Just like this year going into it, and I know Raheem Morris is going to have a great scheme. He's going to get guys in the right position. They're going to play sound fundamental football. They're going to play really, really hard. And so for us, it's going to be about identifying the structures, identifying the people that they want to implement in different groupings, knowing that they're most likely going to mix and match a lot of different guys. And so that's for us, starting with that clear communication at the line of scrimmage and then staying in that attacking mindset.
Where do you feel like Charbonnet can help you?
I think Charbonnet has displayed his physical toughness as a runner, is the starting point right there. So knowing when he goes in the game, I think there's a great, change of styles from him to Ken Walker to DJ Dallas. And so I think the three of those guys just present a little bit different running style. And so when you take, just like we talked about with Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, you might run the same exact pass route with them, but they're different styles of players. They're going to make the same play come to life different ways. That's where I see, Zach and Ken as a combination of runners right there. And Zach showed in the preseason he's willing to be physical. He's going to try to run through people, and then also, tempering him a little bit in the first game where he knows, hey, I can go run someone over, but I also want to stick with my responsibilities and read the run out true each time. So it'd be fun to watch those guys in action.
Where is he at, like pass protection wise?
He's done a great job, so I feel great with all three of those guys. If any of those guys end up in a known passing situation in the backfield, they've all taken really good ownership, especially Zach the last few weeks, where he's gotten a chance to be in there and really get a hold of our protection scheme and our protection system with a lot more live reps that you accumulate in pads throughout camp. So I think it's one thing to talk about it in the off season and go through it in the meetings, go through it in the non-padded situations, but then it's a whole nother animal going through pass protection when we got guys that are really rushing and guys that are challenging those running backs. And so like I said, all three of those guys from the mental standpoint and the physical standpoint have the ability to play on all three downs.
What do you think Jackson's style is at this point?
Yeah, I think he's calm, cool, and collected. It doesn't seem like any of these situations or anything we give to him is too big for him. He understands, the spatial awareness of the defense, so he can find soft spots. He can play all sorts of, different alignments. Can line up out wide. He can line up in the slot. Can move him around with no issues. Which, for a young guy that's coming into a system, making sure that he feels good and he can play fast. It's a great thing to see with him and the other receivers. Having that ability to align in multiple spots and do multiple things and not just be, hey, I'm just going to be in one spot the whole game.
How much can adding him alone improve your third down?
I think anytime you add another weapon that's a good, reliable pass catcher, it's going to help our third down cause right there. And so I think, still going, in the mindset of the quarterback, knowing we've got the two dynamic receivers with Tyler and DK, if the defense is going to, lean to those guys or try to double those guys, anytime the rest of the guys, including the tight ends, have that ability to get open and catch the ball consistently, it's going to open up, the thought of the ball is going to go where the ball should go based on the coverage, not necessarily based on the people. So adding Jackson into the mix, adding Noah or Will or Colby, any of those guys into that mix, now you feel really good about progressing through the plays. And like I said, the ball goes where the ball goes based on the coverage, which we know in this league has turned into a multiple coverage league. It's not banking on one thing every down anymore. And so you got to be ready to adjust and adapt as the game goes on.
Back to Donald, what did you learn about him when you were with the Rams that maybe you didn't know about him before?
Just his work ethic is what you would hope that every great player shows, and then when you're around him, you just realize that, the reason he's great is because of a unique skill set, unique athletic ability, but also a work habits that are unmatched.
Anything else?
Great. Check.
All right, thanks.